Hey guys, my name is Sidiac and welcome back to another episode, the second episode of our brand new series of Dead End here in Cities Skylines. If you didn't see the first episode, guys, we've pretty much built a brand new desert map with a bunch of cool little features that we could potentially kind of use or utilize or do as we progress through the series. And we kind of set up the beginning of our small little town. We had our first resident arrive, which we named the park after, which it turns out a lot of you eagle-eye viewers spotted that she wasn't the first. But it's too late. She claims victory. Good old, I think it was Mary at the end of the day. We created a little entry point to the region. Not to the region, to the town. A roundabout, industrial area, living area. And today we're going to continue the expansions. Now guys, if you have enjoyed the first episode and you do enjoy this one and want to see more of Dead End as we progress through the series, then please make sure you smash that like button down below. If you are new right here, then make sure you do subscribe so you are notified when the third episode, the fourth, the fifth and the rest of the series does come out. Now today the town is going to have a little bit of expansions. We're going to grow it slightly, expand a little bit, and we're going to plan for a train line. A lot of you guys in the comment section were like, yo, Sediak, this is the perfect series, the perfect map to utilize trains as a mode of transport. And I couldn't agree more. But I'm going to make sure that I keep the passenger and the cargo lines completely separate. So that is something that I'm going to have in the bank, kind of thinking about it. So we're going to grow a little bit. We're going to make some more money. And ultimately, we're going to create a passenger train line from the residential area down here up to our industrial area where our current workers are working. Before we can do that, though, we need to make a little bit more money so we can pay for that brand new train line. So again, guys, if you are enjoyed it, please smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we're going to jump straight into it. So yeah, the park was named after Mary Miller. And is it starting to make any money? It kind of is. It is starting to make some money. But what we need to do is we need to build a little bit more residential kind of surrounding the park. So they're kind of more eager to use it and stuff like that. So we're going to continue those expansions while we do have a little bit of residential demand. We kind of get it all set up to begin with before we progress any further. So let's get these roads a-rocking and a-rolling. So some of the roads I'm going to have to eventually upgrade. But I want to just try to utilize this little grid format a little bit more before we dive in deeper into something a little bit more jazzy. So I believe there's going to be a point where we're going to have to like maybe change the direction of how the city or the town or whatever it eventually is going to be. Eventually we have to change that direction. So I think what I'll do is I'll go up by 30 there and by 30 there. That's as far as the grid format is then pretty much going to go. And we'll again bring this up by another 30 as well. And then after that point then we'll start to kind of play around with different designs as we progress. We just want to get the fundamentals down so we can really maximize how many residents are pretty much living in here. So if I bring that up for there for now, kind of gets a little bit more zoning down. More peeps can move in. And we're just getting to the point right now where we need to make some money. And what I'll do first is I'm actually going to zone some more commercial. So I'm going to do a nice little commercial strip just there and just here. We'll go by another 4x4 there. So just a nice little corner section there to utilize. Potentially all the residents kind of walk into the park. They can quickly grab a little snack, a little takeout, a little cup of coffee as they have their nice little walk. And then fill all this up then down to here, to here, to here. With residential, it's quite a lot. Gonna make sure that we've got enough water in here. Like I said, it is quite a lot. But we are going to be able to utilize it quite easily. And as you progress further anyway, might as well just take it from there. We're going to get more jobs in. So that's all the water coverage done. That was a slowly now build up. But again, we need to create more jobs. So I'm trying to create a little bit more demand. One, I need to pay for the new train line. So I need more money coming in general. And two, I need to create demand for this train line. So I need a lot of people wanting to, well, first live here, but also work over here too. And again, I've got to be really, really careful about how I grow this, because this could potentially be in the long run a traffic nightmare for us. Now, we are playing this series with no despawning, so it makes things a little bit more interesting for us. At the moment, it's going pretty well. But then again, there's not really much going on. So we're going down by 30 with this. So I'm going to try and create another grid format. Oh, actually, I've got to think about where I want the train line, don't I? Now, it's going to be on this side of the road as it kind of goes over. And I've got to think about where I want it over there too. So maybe hold out. Actually, no, let me put that back down. Can I squeeze a train line in here? I was kind of looking at the train lines earlier. If I go for the standard passenger one, yeah, that fits in there beautifully. But I was looking at these. Like, this has got like a nice one with potentially having a bus route on it. But I think that's more kind of the style of, let's say, the residential area. Interesting. So, yeah, if I had the train line to here, and that was potentially stop as we got the entry point, that would be a good little shout for us. And we have then the kind of landscape starting to go up a bit right here, so I kind of want to progress it to go down that way. So if I stick out by another 10 to there, and if I then stick out by another, let's say 10 or 20. Let's go by 20 here, and I know that is a full 30 going up. Let me see what I could do here. So if I did a 20 by 20, but then that kind of takes away the thought process of maybe we can then start going down that way. It's a weird concept right now that I want to try and go with. So what if I did a 10 by 10 on a 90 by 90, 180. Hold on, I'm trying to do some like calculations in my head. Right, if I went by a 130, as close as I can get it, about there, and then ran this down that road, then we kind of switching up how the industrial area is then going to work as it progresses further down that way. And it's going to come to a point where we are going to want to start thinking about how I would create the bend here. Now, that looks like a perfect little kind of connection here. So if I came up there 11 by 11 to kind of then integrate, how does that look? Maybe not so. But what is that full distance? That is 10. I know that's a 10 by 10, so that's 50. So if I came up here and then created a little bit of a system. So that, we could get something out of here. 9 by 8. Ooh, do you know what? That's not far off, is it? 9 by 8. I'll take it. I'll take that. And then we got this big open little patch there, but we can work with it. We can do stuff with it. So we're getting an idea right now of how stuff is going to progress. You know, we can eventually maybe incorporate our garbage in this area because it's quite a large big area. We can throw in a warehouse in there or something like that. We've got ideas. We have got ideas, and eventually we might have to stick a roundabout round here to have like a secondary kind of input road coming in. But like I said, we'll see how that progresses. So making sure we got enough water around these areas. So coming it down to about there. Straight across. So I'm only going to cover up this area to begin with. So it's some industrial. And like I said before, we got to be a little bit careful with how much we do throw in this area. So we might have to experiment with some, you know, some industry like this. Maybe a little bit of office areas for the like a little kind of like high-tech commercial industrial park, if that makes sense. Playing around with warehouse, stuff like that. And just kind of creating small little pockets. Not a huge area. And probably we won't expand much more off what we've currently got. Just to kind of keep the traffic to a minimum. So that gives us that kind of more demand right there. To the point where we're now starting to earn a little bit of revenue. We're making a little bit of profit, which is good to see. So we'll give that time for that now to grow up and kind of spend some of that demand. And while it spends that demand and kind of brings it down, hopefully the residential demand slowly starts to grow up too. Which again, that will be kind of pretty cool to see as well. So we should start seeing some more revenue coming in from the park. And then we've got to start planning then where our train line would be. Now, just thinking about it, having maybe a station opposite the park would be a good idea, because we could maybe utilise them people, say people living over here, would walk through the park to get to the train station. Thus, I get money for them walking through the park. Another way to kind of increase the revenue, create more of a little bit of a hotspot around here. And wouldn't it be cool if I had the train line there, ran it all the way up, following around into there, and then eventually, as we progress and build smaller towns around the map, having that train line pass through this town onto another town. I like the idea of that. I wasn't actually going to go with trains, but you guys in the comment section really have kind of shaped the idea of trains being, you know, pretty cool. Which would kind of mean if I had the train station then here, it would have to kind of tear through this little area. So we got to work with how are we going to tackle that situation. That in itself is going to be kind of interesting. But we'll see what we can do anyway. So if we start to think about trains then, and the simple idea of having that standard station for the industrial area is perfect. But I was looking at this before I started recording, and I like the idea of this as well. Solely because, one, it will also incorporate buses, which we can use the buses to collect everybody to bring them over to the train station. But I think I would want it flipped on the other side. So, right, let's kind of experiment with this. So that currently sticks out by 10. If I made it stick out by another 10 and go to there, so that goes around the whole edge of the current park right now. And if I place this here, now the annoying thing is it's no, it's not off-centered. I'm going to say it's slightly off-centered, but it actually isn't. It's going to cost me 26,000 this is. How much have I got? Okay, we still got a fair bit of money. So the ground is slightly a little bit uneven, but we can kind of use the touch it mod to take the road off to kind of flatten it a little bit. And I can then filter these roads in there to kind of wiggle them slightly in. So we're creating like a kind of like a small unique area. And then how that what we basically then created then is the ability to have trains tearing through to there. Which again, we're going to have to kind of push them through and work them out. I don't really know how that's going to play out. We're going to have some train crossings for roads. And then obviously that then is going to come through there. Might have to have a train crossing there as it tears through. And then goes off to the next town. I like the idea of that. I really do. So if I was to get these roads, let me untouch these roads first. Because I can upgrade them to first be in the same style as these. Just so it's a little bit different. And so that currently sticks out by 4. So if I made these stick out by 4 there, and then did a diagonal of 7. Right, we have to anarchy that one. Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button. Wait, no, it won't let me build it. What's going on? Game! Why can't I place this one down? So I can click. It won't let me build that one for some reason. Apparently the height is too high. So if I selected... wait, I did untouch the road, didn't I? I did, yeah. So can I not select the road now? Well, if I choose no buildings, but then just road. Okay. So it's not perfect. But I'm going to have to kind of slightly... I'll bring it down real quick. Just so I can connect it. To then bring it slightly up. So it feels a little bit more... There we go. See, that looks better. That looks better. And what we then do is we kind of create a little bit of a node in between each dentation there. So then delete it. And by doing that, like I said, it then gives us that little node in the middle. And what I do is I bend this one out to then bend that one in to create a more of a little wiggle going on. So it looks a little bit more natural as it pulls into this area. And you could argue, but then, you know, what's the point of this when you've got this road going around the outside? Well, this is for buses only. It then doesn't trip up over the traffic and whatnot. So, could be interesting. It could be like a little bit of a unique feature to this area. So for then trains, I'm going to have to take the anarchy off. we are going to make sure that it's on level playing field. Off it goes. That would come to there and out. So we had to kind of slightly anarchy that one. So yeah, this whole little section right now is in a slight little angle. So we're going to have to kind of see what we can do with this. If I could kind of slightly bring these up a little bit. And maybe bring these points up. So get rid of that one. And to there. Just so I can kind of sort out the angles of this. Because they're not looking too great. Maybe bring that up slightly. Because we have to kind of terraform the land to kind of meet the same levels as everything else. And then maybe bring that down just a tad. I think that's probably as good as we're ever going to get it. Without making everything flat. Because that's something we've got to battle with right now. And we're going to have this issue with a lot of the towns that we build around all the bumps and stuff like that. So at least we kind of got those ideas in our head. Then this should be pretty sweet to be building. So back to the power situation, because I did get rid of the power here. And then bring that power directly over. I don't think that's enough to technically connect, is it? So it's going to have to connect there for now. Put it back into play mode. Because we're pretty much back to normal at this point. So we can have buses now pulling. We've got a train line coming to there. And for now it's pretty much going to be a dead end. But at some point I'm going to want the train line to also tear through. So if I bring it down there for now, as a sign of this is where we're eventually going to take it. Which means I'm going to have to get rid of the graveyard. And have that just tear through, and then it might either go to the left or right. I don't really know which way it's going to go. It could split in both ways. And then we can build this little town, you know, around this train line. Which would be pretty cool. I like the idea of that. So, also with all these little roads, I can get some more zoning down. Get some more commercial shops around the train stop here as well. To utilise the, you know, all the potential people passing through and whatnot. So we could really utilise it and kind of, you know, turn it into something like a bit of a benefit. So for the passenger side over here then, we're going to end that there. So this will actually become a dead end, like the end of the line in many ways. So if I kind of brought that out just to there, to kind of, you know, simulate as if that was a dead end. And then we want this to kind of continue. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it run all the way down. And then pretty much run parallel with the road. So if I bring that to there. And if I had... Because I like the idea of it running with the road. Because as you're driving, you can kind of see the trains. Now, is that too far over? So an 18 by an 18. Oh, pause, because I'm deleting power lines again. Alright, there we go. We'll run these up this way instead. Do it that way. So train line runs with us. Pretty good. And I don't know how easy it's now going to be to kind of get this to kind of bend round with us. Originally I was going to kind of redo this, but I kind of like the idea of it now at this point. But trying to get it to kind of, you know, stick with the bend is a whole nother thing entirely. So the snap is there. I'm going to say it's about here. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. I think what I'll do is I'll bring that down to here by 40. So I'm going to kind of bring it out and then use this little section now to kind of slightly bend it round. So if I stick or utilize... How far off is that? Here. So if I came down to there. So basically, if I go to there. 19 by 19. The train line bends a little bit different as it leads over. Now, not to say that I want a full 90-degree turn here. But it almost borderline becomes one. As that kind of bends off and round. So it gives me a little bit of room to kind of maneuver and change slightly the highway road leading in. And also, the reason I made it go kind of straight as well is because I've got room to maybe stick a roundabout here and have a connection that comes off, goes past the train line and connects into this area. So I'm kind of trying to think 2 steps ahead while I build all this. Like I said in the first episode, I don't really have a plan. It's just whatever happens, happens. And that's cool. That's all I'm trying to think about right now. So we now pretty much officially are ready to drop in our first little train line, our first little passenger line, which will bring hopefully the workers to and from the industrial area so they can get to work and back. Not sure how many trains it's going to throw onto this line. Stops 2 at the moment, vehicles 1. Vehicles 2. I'm going to change it to one train. Until we start to see that train being completely full. As of right now, I don't think there's any need to have 2 trains. So that pulls that little train station up to there, which everything's within walking distance. Maybe at some point we might put a little bus route that collects and drops people off to and from this train station to the surrounding area. And vice versa. I mean, we're eventually going to do it over here. We do have the setup for it. But I'll eventually have a little bus route that collects everybody and then brings everybody to the train line. Which is actually quite exciting, isn't it? We already got people walking over here. So that's pretty cool. I like it. I like it quite a lot. So why don't we try and utilize then the zoning that we've got around? Oh, can we actually put commercial here? I'm not 100% sure. Oh, look at the amount of people walking already. So I think what I'll do, I'll just kind of fill up these little gaps with it. Alright, let me pause, delete this. I'm going to reroute that. On the off chance that maybe it can put some commercial there. I just want to see what would happen. But I think I'm going to switch it. Over to this side for now. As we slowly work with the insides of that train line. So a little bit more commercial, which will hopefully pick up a lot of customers getting on and off the train. So a lot of people walking over. This is not all of our demand, it's just the initial demand that everybody now realizes there's a brand new central station available. So I think having a bus route at some point would be really, really handy. So there we go. We've officially got now then our first passenger train line within the area. We're still making a little bit of profit. And at some point it would be a good idea to have a cargo line. Now, a little bit too low to maybe pick it off here. I'll have to do something to kind of connect this all up to bring another train line over. But that's something you got to remember. I don't want the cargo lines and the passenger lines to mix. I want to have them separately. And that's probably one of the reasons why the industrial area is so far away. So that's pretty cool. So at some point we will build a secondary town, or maybe this town will expand down the peninsula here, where this train line will kind of bend around, maybe come down here and end here, or potentially have like another crossing or going down here. I don't know. We got a bunch of possibilities to what we can really do with this. Nice. Okay. Okay, so I don't think we're going to get the zoning there. It's just going to be the stuff on the edge of this road here, isn't it? Let's have a little fast forward then. Let's get things rocking and rolling. Get all this brand new zoning then built in. Do we have a little bit of space there? Let's get some zoning just there for the residential. Give it some time to pass by right now with all these passengers getting to and from the train station. So as the train now arrives, peeps get off. A lot of peeps get off right now to go to work. So hopefully it might reduce the amount of traffic then on the highway, because now people can take the train to work. Very interesting. So is the park? The park's in a slight increase, so that's good. That's real good right now. And I wonder, even right now, I wonder how many people are jumping on the train. So if I view the stop right now, so wow, at least half the train is currently getting filled up. That's pretty cool. Right, great stuff. Great stuff. So now as we continue to expand, we probably want to look at setting up a few more infrastructure bits and bobs. Like getting a roundabout set up here. that will really increase and enable the traffic flow to enter this place a whole lot easier. And I think we're going to try and replicate the same style that we've got over here right now. So I know this is a 2-lane road, and you could argue 2-lane, maybe potentially set up a 3-lane. But I think for now, I'm going to keep it to a 2-lane highway. We set it up to 60, and then we drop it down. There we go. So bam, straight in. First thing I'm going to do is pause it real quick. Delete that back. And what was the spacing gap between us getting that set up? So say from there, it was about a 10, wasn't it? Like if I came up here, a 7 there. And I want to try and replicate the same here. I want to make it look good, and I also want to make it, decent. So 15, so I've only come to 5. We get to work with it. Right, sweet. So, our little beautiful slip roads. We're going to do... Oh, what was the distance to these? It's kind of hard to tell, isn't it? But I can't quite remember how we did it. But I think it was about like this. And for these, we're going to have to do a 2-laner. Only because of how the road sizing is. It's not perfect, but should do the job. Right, there we go for that one. There we go for that. Looking good. I don't quite know how these are going to work, just because of, they are quite chunky. So I'm not able to get the full shebang on it, as like I would normally do. Right, what would be the best option here? I mean, I could technically drop a node on to kind of do it, but there's not enough room to play around with to kind of set it up like that. So I think I'll just kind of go for that for now. Eventually I will change it all up, but that is just what I'm going to have to go with for now. It's the unfortunate luck. There's a word in there somewhere I'm trying to use for me to get this all set up. So yeah. Damn, boy. So I know everyone keeps telling me to kind of do these in certain ways to make it a whole lot easier for me, but I kind of like the... Or, wrong way around. I kind of just like the idea of like doing it like manually. It's like therapeutic. I feel like I'm accomplishing more, even though I'm getting the same task. I feel like I'm accomplishing a whole lot more by doing it manually. Does anybody else feel like that, or is it just me? I think it's just me. So all roads entering the roundabout now have to give way. All vehicles on the roundabout who go past the kind of giving on one have the ability to pass through. These guys don't have the ability to continue on. And there we go. So, it's a bit funky right now. I get it. I know it. But it allows us to now continually have the little turnaround. I've got to sort out as well the quick little lane management. Just on these. I don't know if I did it on the original roundabout. But it just allows us then not to have anybody turning around. Did I do it on these? I mean, in my head it would say that we probably don't need it to happen, and obviously the lanes say that it doesn't need to happen, but I've got it in anyway, just in case. So that little roundabout just there right now just kind of entices the flow a whole lot better. And then we'll take a look at now of trying to grow around the train station will be a good, sweet little move. So back to our normal little side roads here. Now this is going to be interesting because this road here is 20 away, where we would normally do a 30, where it would cut in there. So it would normally cut in here. So how would that change things? If I upgraded that road, that is a 30, right? Yep. So here will be the junction. that would normally continue up. Let me delete that because I have to go. I have to actually go up by 11. Wait, hold on. How many are we behind right now? 69. I've actually got to go up by 12. There we go. So that measures up perfectly. Bring in that. Oh, what? Really? We can't even do something as simple as that? Right, now we can. Straight across. Now, this is the interesting bit. Do I keep it like this? And not have the train lines, you know, go near this? Because in reality, we're 8 off there, but 12 off there. We're creating that little bit of a gap between it. The full distance is obviously 30. If I deleted that, because no one's really going to want a road so close to it, maybe. But then I limit to how many connections we have that pass over. That would probably slow the trains down. Maybe we would go like that. Oh, I actually kind of like the idea of it. Because when it comes to zoning it, obviously, when the power line's not there, we can only zone so far because there's no road here. But then we can't build on that side because we can only build here because of the road there. So you kind of get the gap between the roads, the buildings, and the train line to kind of give you that unique kind of design, which I actually kind of like in a weird way. So if I ran with that theme pushing all the way up, eventually these roads are going to go all the way down and then potentially connect to a road over there. Now, because they're going to be normal roads, they're not going to be deemed the shortest route, the quickest route. And the highway will probably always win out on top. So if I made this road continue down a bit more, and I know I said that we're going to go for a different design. We will do. But it's going to come to a point where maybe these roads do connect up to this. There is going to be a connection. Whatever that connection will be, I don't know. It could be another roundabout. So just for the sake of me wanting to test the waters, I'm going to do a very, very generic connection there. I'm going to delete it in just a moment. Don't worry. It's not going to stay. I just want to see, with this connection here leading in, does that become the shorter route? Even though technically, when it comes to speed limits, this is a 40 and they're 90s. So we are going to get a few vehicles that do kind of take that route. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But I want to see how many vehicles are going in round, well, leading up to the roundabout here and doing a left-hand turn is what I want to know. And vice versa, coming down this way, doing a right-hand turn to go down there. I want to see how much movement we get with that. Just to see how a road leading from here would kind of slightly change things. So I think enough time has now passed by to kind of get a true representation of where vehicles are heading. So we're getting the odd vehicle going that way. We're getting the odd vehicle out of all these that do go around here. So it is useful. Not every vehicle is taking this chance to go that way. So that was just my little tester. Now I understand. I'll delete it. Because eventually we are going to have a road go that way. I might make it a little bit more bulkier than that road to maybe something like this. And I might make it go down on the next turn. So like the next set of 30 is where I do it. So keeping true to the current design, that is a 20. So another 10. And then we lead, obviously by the extra one there, we lead down that way with this road. And that will be the road that connects to some type of roundabout or something. And probably end up sticking a roundabout here, because that could then lead us onto maybe a passing over the waterfront. It will lead maybe to a road tearing down there. And it also allows us not to have the big main road on the edge here, then allowing us to kind of create these, not beachfront properties, but they're waterfront properties, aren't they, really? Is what we're going to be kind of going for. So, that's all good then. How is the power now all connected? Power's looking good in terms of connections. If I pause, and now just get rid of the power lines running through this area, because now I slowly want to start building around this area. So bringing that up to there and ending there. I know we have the power lines here, which we're going to run down just to there and connect over. So we're pretty much all being connected back over again. And, oh, this is going to be interesting to how we work with the road here. I suppose, is it one of these type of connections? Is that what I do? And have that run to there? Is that normal now? Or do I kill off that one? I think I just kill off that one because I don't want to create too much kerfuffle going on. Yeah. So on the residential side then, residential all here. We'll do residential all the way around here and to here. Except from a little strip here. So I'll go back by 4 to there. We'll do commercial there. So there's stores right outside the entry point to it. Again, I fill this whole little section up here with commercial because I feel like it's going to be a nice, beautiful little hotspot. And of course, do my commercial strip going down to there. So there's a lot of commercial being thrown in. So I've got to back it up then with the residential. To, at this moment, is exactly what we're doing. So there is a lot being thrown in. And have we got water and all this? The water is all there. So this road here, you know, we'll eventually pass down. Roads leading up. As the it spreads out, we can now slowly start connecting some of the other roads. As the town does slowly start to expand. And from that becomes more growth. Which that railway is eventually going to tear through it. So what was quite interesting was we've got these lines going down, which create quite a few connection points there to the railway. When we switched it up on this style here to then go long ways, we're then not adding as many connections in. So maybe after that connection there, then this area will eventually switch around to this style. So we don't have too many connections coming in. But then again, this town is probably not going to be... I don't know how much it's going to spread out, to be honest with you. I really don't. So back into play mode then. We got some garbage things popping up. So the garbage processing is not great. So maybe that's where we take a look right now. So I'm going to actually put the 2 garbage incinerators over on this side. I'm going to run power lines all the way down. And I'm going to move this garbage incinerator as well, this incineration plant, just over to this side. Run our water down that way as well. And that should really help us out. So I'm now keeping the... you've got water, what are you complaining for? Yeah. We now got our garbage needs a little bit further out the way. It is going to put a lot more pressure then, for example, on this junction here. As we're getting loads of vehicles coming to and from. Which is why, like I mean, like maybe like we eventually have a road that kind of, you know, comes down, tears through and connects to here. In some way, shape or form. Not too sure what it may be just yet. But we'll let the demands keep on growing. So, train are coming in. People are coming out. The hustle and bustle is now starting to become a little bit more real in this little bit of a town right now. So, I think this town is ready. It is ready to now be zoned to be the first town in Dead End. And this is where I want you guys to be as creative as possible. A brand new town, our first town. What do we call our first town, guys? Let me know in the comment section down below, because this is going to be really interesting right now as you progress, because we're going to have, I won't say like a really, really big intertwined connected city throughout the whole of this kind of map. We might have like, you know, a big central, you know, town or city, whatever, and then we're going to have a bunch of small little towns dotted around everywhere. So if that's how we're going to play it, if that's how it's going to work, we're going to need some really good town names as we progress forward. So give us some name suggestions in the comment section down below, guys, of what we could name our first beautiful little town. So, there's the healthcare system over there. Eventually we're going to have to build another one over on this side. Fire brigade, policing, education is what we don't have. But at the same time, we don't really have the money just yet. How is the park doing? The park's making a lot more cash right now. I'm starting to see a lot more vehicles driving around. Ooh, there's definitely... This road is now starting to creep up. So, thinking about maybe next episode, maybe taking a look at a cargo line. So we can decrease the amount of vehicles driving along that road. Maybe even potentially upgrading that to a 4-lane road. Many, many possibilities that we can potentially do. But we've got to keep an eye on the money being spent. Got to keep an eye on the money being spent right now. And education is going to be very, very important moving forward. The park is upgraded, which we can charge a little bit of extra, couple of pennies right now. Which will take us very, very far. And I think we're going to break even very soon anyway. But not too much expansions going on with the whole areas around here, but we're laying down the infrastructure, the important stuff as we progress. We've got our first kind of transportation system added in, the train line, which is really now set up for where stuff is now potentially going to head. So if we expand this way, we can tear the line through and continue up that way. It's all added in. It's going to be pretty cool. We eventually have buses tooting around as well. And before we do go, let's take a look at the train system. So, the single train driving around right now. No way that we need a secondary one just yet. It's only like a quarter of the way full. But as we keep progressing and keep building, it will keep building up anyway. Have a little fast forward then. So, the money that we're losing right now, 300 big ones. It keeps floating around here and there, just depending on what's going on. More and more people are still moving in though, so as you can now see, we're starting to turn profit all over again. As more and more residents slowly move into the Dead End region. And guys, I think we're going to end it for here then. So, next episode, we've got to take a look at education. We'll also take a look at maybe potentially building or starting to think about planning a secondary town. And I think it would be a kind of like a little cool idea to maybe build like a secondary town either around here. I think here would be a good idea just because I can extend the train line coming up. And eventually them two towns might meet in the middle as, you know, they sprawl out and stuff like that, which would be pretty sweet. I mean, we got plenty of like space down here to kind of have some like, you know, little satellite towns and whatnot. So there's a bunch of stuff that I want to kind of head towards getting all set up. We're now making some serious cash as more and more people do now move in. And I like the idea of this little train line running through. I got to sort out all the elevation stuff. You know, like this, as it kind of, you know, has reached the same level. There's a bunch of stuff that I've got to tweak, but I like the idea of the road kind of passing through. Do you know what I'm going to do right now? Let me see if I can actually slope these. Yeah. So the road running alongside the little train line there. People's backyards, there's a bit of a buffer space before them. Maybe you can plant down some trees or whatnot. But it's all slowly coming together, guys. It's all slowly coming together. Hopefully as we progress, we can start to kind of go big and boom on some future expansions. All the roundabouts are working perfectly. I'm seeing a lot of demand coming in right now for the industrial areas. So that cargo line is going to be vital. It's going to be vital. Because there's a lot of traffic for this small little area. But maybe there's a lot more traffic coming in because we can now get the workers here a whole lot easier. So productivity is going through the roof? I don't know. But a cargo line is going to be heavily needed. Guys, until next time, I'll see you all soon. So, good.